Come on, BTC.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Crypto Warehouse show. My name is Mike. Today is the 25th of September, 2024, and we've had just a touch of a move up in the market. What are we going to go through today? Well, we're going to have a look at some possible scenarios. We're going to look at what Plan B thinks we could possibly do in crypto. Now, bear in mind, I do not put my mortgage on the prices he is talking about, but it's a good way of seeing what's going to happen in the future. We're then going to look at the options expiry coming up very soon. In fact, probably the end of this week, we're going to look at Gary Gensler on the spot. He was grilled. We're going to look at Sui all-time high. We're going to look at the final Ripple. We are on the rundown to when I think Ripple is going to go. Then we're going to look at 5 winners for October. Again, we did 3 meme coins yesterday. I think, was it 3 or 5 meme coins yesterday? Today, we're looking at 5 sensible coins. So we're going to try and get everything done in the hour, as always. And don't forget, tonight is the big one. Tonight, we have the Mew giveaway. So tonight at 7 p.m, which is around about 8 hours from now, we have our Mew special show. Now, if you don't know how this works, it's very simple. You tune in, you watch a stream about Mew, which is, I think, the biggest, or one of the biggest meme coins on Solana. I think it's 4th, maybe. We talk about it for an hour, and then we give away Mew at the end of the show. That's tonight, and we are looking forward to it. Myself and the Oracle will be back in the studio for the first time in a couple of weeks, and it should be a whole world of fun. Remember, if you are new here, we stream Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. A couple of times in the evenings as well. We have the trading shows, and we do our specials. Bottom left-hand corner, just under 170,000 followers. And as you can see above, you've got a few people commenting. Good morning, Kishan, Chris, Marco is in chat, Hidden Agendas is in there. Probably going to miss a few names off. I do apologise, but I'm not sitting down right now. I am walking around. So Bitcoin is coming in at 63,800. Ethereum, $2,600. Sorry. Market cap coming in at 2.24 trillion. Volume is nudging up. We're going to start to see serious moves when we break 100 billion. We're at 75 billion as it is. Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance still over 70%, 70.5. When is that going to break down? I wonder. Fear and greed is at 53. I think yesterday it was at 51. So much of a muchness, but we did try and break out. I woke up this morning and at about 6 a.m. and I think, if I remember, we were at 64.3, I think, this morning. So we have come down a little bit. Good morning, Danny. Good morning, KB. Oh, sorry, KD. I hope you are all doing incredibly well. So let's have a quick look at the charts then before we move on to the X-Files. We've seen Bitcoin, we've seen Ethereum, BNB, just a touch under $600. Solana still at 150. 24-hour gainers and losers. Say, decent pump that. Decent pump, up 24%. In 24 hours. Sui is still going, up 12%. Popcat is over $1. We did think it would get there, and it has done. Not coin, not for me, I'm afraid. Not one of my coins. I don't buy gaming tokens. They're a race to zero. Chainlink is pumping up to $12.30. Stark, Dog, Algorand, good gains over the last 24 hours. And losers, not too many. Arweave, Injective, Nervos, Makers down a touch, Beam, Immutable X, not many losers. So overall, a pretty good start to a Wednesday, really. Now, we're going to start off. Remember, retail is not here yet. You are early. And remember what retail look like. What are they going to do to your bags? Are they going to pump your bags? And could this be, could the news from China, could these be retail coming to crypto to buy your bags off you? Is this retail? Are they going to be here before the end of the year? Remember, this is only a joke. I don't believe they're really animals. I do believe they really exist. But retail is around the corner. I think we're probably 75, 85,000. I think we'll start to see them come back. Once all-time highs start to come in, then retail will be here. Now then, this is the kind of breaking news from yesterday that I've not really included in the article. This is to do with China. China has started to pump money into its economy. I'm not going to go through each one of these one by one, but they have reduced the bank reserves by 0.5%. that is a positive move. They have started to pump money. Lowering borrowing costs on 5.3 trillion in mortgages, another positive sign. $113 billion of additional liquidity, again, more bullish signs. They're going to recapitalize the banks for the first time in 10 years. Stocks rebounded and had the strongest daily growth since the pandemic. And of course, Bitcoin has moved up just a touch. So that's really the breaking news of the day. Now, remember, there are always lags. Not everything is a direct cause and effect. We've talked about it with interest rates for a very long time. Chairman Powell's interest rates, when he was moving them up, it was taking a long time for them to have an effect on the economy. When they come down, they're a little bit quicker. So it can take 12 to 18 months for him to see what he was doing. Now we're probably going to see the effects of them being cut a lot quicker, maybe 3 to 6 months. This money coming into China, this money coming into the American stock market, probably stimulus will carry on around Europe as well. That's going to take weeks to actually have an effect. And again, HODL 15 capital, 63.7, we're at 63.8 now. Where were we last night? 64 and change, 64.3. This seems to be the battle. This seems to be the war that's going on. Could it have been fought at 60,000 or 70,000? Yes. Is this an arbitrary number, 64,000? Probably not. But I haven't found a correlation between 64,000 and why. I don't believe 64,000 would break the lower highs. I think that's up at 65. So I'm not quite sure why we are fighting so fiercely at this price. Have a look at the Bitcoin chart in a minute and we'll see what we can find. Now again, it is silly season. Why is it called silly season? Because you have stupid announcements like this. WIF, a meme coin, has flipped Optimism, one of the biggest Ethereum layer 2s. Again, I know everybody likes meme coins, and yes, they're good fun, but you should treat them responsibly. Is WIF a bigger project than Optimism? No. However, it's got a larger market cap, and therefore we have to respect that fact. But for me, obviously WIF is a meme coin and it doesn't have any inherent value. Moving on then. Top overall coins by development activity in the last 30 days. So these are the top coins, not by any particular character. Now, the interesting one here is ICP. Lots of people out there, lots of people in chat, they don't like ICP, and I understand that. But one thing I didn't manage to bring up, I saw a tweet this morning. I've not managed to go to DeFi Llama to dig it out, but ICP has generated more fees in the last 30 days than a lot of its competitors. So ICP, much as it's hated and maligned, it's still up there on merit. Chainlink, as you would expect, is up there. Hedera, which I have a bag of. Optimism, Cardano is up there. Atom, ZK Sync is up there. AVAX, a lot of good projects in the top 10 over the last 30 days. And remember, this doesn't really mean anything. These are the projects which are committing the most changes to GitHub. So this just means they're the most active in terms of development. That could mean new projects, that could mean fixing things, that could mean maintenance. It doesn't mean anything in particular, but it's a good indication that projects are active. That's all it means. It's not a direct correlation between the price pumping and development. Moving on, this isn't a tweet as such. I've gone to the actual source itself. For those of you that hold dupe and you hold them on the exchange, look away now, you don't need to know about this. This is a proposal for what to do with the 215 million dupe that they have. It wasn't claimed. What do you want to do with it? The three options are fund it, which basically means give it out in rewards next year, burn them, or number three, give them to the community to help build out Jupiter. Now, obviously, my heart of hearts says burn them, but that's never going to happen. So I think the choices are between 1 and 3. 1 would be a sign of greed, which is what most people are. 3 would be a sign of need. I think the community could spend those tokens quite wisely. Remember, 215 million dupe is roughly $200 million. We are not talking about pennies here. We are talking about an awful lot of money, and burning them would do the best long term for dupe, in my opinion. But there we go. Now then, I'm keeping a beady eye on the DXY, and we have broken down just a little bit. We're still above 100, but we're coming down. Are we going to see 99.6 for it on the cards? Again, the two options really are that the further down the DXY goes, the more liquidity will start to come in, especially when you look at how well Bitcoin does compared to how low the Dixie goes. Basically, what happens if the Dixie does this, then risky assets such as Bitcoin do this. If we start to see a bounce here and the DXY does this, then I expect Bitcoin to do this. That is a very simplistic way of looking at it. Of course, there's many other things to take into account, but breaking down is positive for Bitcoin. And I do keep an eye on it on a daily basis right now, because I think it's going to give us an indication of where the American market is going and where I think crypto is going to go. Now, plan B, which we're going to look at this. Now, please, before I bring this up, take everything he says with a pinch of salt as far as the numbers are concerned. Okay? I am not showing you this based on the numbers. The numbers are not important. What is important to understand is the strategy that Plan B has got for what he thinks is going to happen over the next couple of years. That's what's important. A few good mornings. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Bullish Bull. Good morning, Solo Sky. I hope you are well. I finally come to my senses and swapped all my Jupiter to Aero and Mantra after seeing Jupiter had billions of coins and most still locked. Mantra and Aero will go higher X's than Jupiter. You are entitled to your opinion, but remember, they are burning 3 billion, which will bring the supply down from 10 to 7. There are 200 million that they are likely to either give away or hold, but it doesn't mean that that token is going to go to zero. Those tokens are only going to be released over the course of 4 years. And what you are talking about is selling your tokens in 12 months. So what difference does it make if it has billions of tokens locked if they're not going to be released till 2029? If you're getting out of the market next October, it will make no difference to you. You should base your decision on many things, not just what I have to say, of course, on what other people have to say. I think Jupiter is going to go to somewhere in the region of $5 to $10. I think Mantra is going to have a great run, and so is Aero. None of those three are bad picks. So, Plan B. Again, everything with a pinch of salt. October, we have a pump to 70,000. Again, where do I think we're going to go? Well, based off a 20% pump from here, the average is 23%. That would put us at 74,000, 75,000, which is all-time highs. That's what October could do for us. November is an interesting month because 5th of November is the election in America. I think Trump will win that based on everything that I have seen. Biden and Harris will be gone. Gary Gensler is finished. We're going to talk about Gary Gensler in a minute anyway, but I don't think that's going to pump us to 100,000, by the way, because from 75 to 100, that's a 33% pump. I don't think that's going to happen. However, his opinion is far more qualified than mine. December, he expects an ETF inflow to pump us to 150,000. Now, again, October, November, and December so far, I agree with the concept of what he's saying. The numbers, again, I've said take with a pinch of salt. I think by November, we could be at 80. December could push us towards 85. For me, though, in January and maybe February, I think we start to see a 30% retracement in those months. The start of the year, we haven't got Trump in power yet, so that's where we start to diverge. Pretty much everything that he's talking about is number go up in here. So January, he expects crypto people and companies to come back to the US. Power, law, crew, sells, so back down to 150,000. So there is some correlation there, but I would expect a 30% correction. So if we go to 85, for example, we could come down towards the 60s in January and February. Bitcoin legal tender in Bhutan, Argentina and Dubai. Again, that is likely to happen. That is not going to double the price of Bitcoin. April, Trump and America starts to build the Bitcoin reserve. That will start to see, I believe we worked it out as 400 Bitcoin a day for the next 4 years, something like that. Again, our numbers are way off. May, other countries join the rat race. June, AI starts to use Bitcoin to autonomously arbitrage TradFi. July and December, face melting FOMO. And again, we can move on. Now, it's not a bad layout of what's going to happen. The prices, please do not listen to those prices. I don't see any of that happening. We are not going to go to $1 million in December. I think the best we can hope for is $240,000, in my opinion, and it is only my opinion. I'm expecting 140, 160. 240 would be an incredible bull run. So again, we're out on the numbers. You could probably divide everything he's said from January onwards by about 3 for me, maybe even 4 in some cases. But it's a good layout because it's kind of how we would expect things to play out with Trump, with the ETFs, with the strategic reserve, with Trump coming into power. It's kind of a nice play. And of course, you know, Plan B, don't forget, Plan B has his cycle, his stock to flow model. I don't have a stock to flow model. I'm just basing my prices off the previous bull runs. So he is more qualified to make these decisions than me. He does think, however, that we're going to go to $1 million, but then retrace to 200,000. Now that's an 80% retracement for Bitcoin. I think we're only going to come down 65%. So if we do hit 240,000, I think we would retrace to the previous all-time high, as we have done, which would bring us down to 70,000. So again, there's a few things that have happened in the past that he's not included, but still, I think it's a good layout to give you the timescales of when and where things are going to be. October, November and December should be good months. January and February should be a retracement. March, April, we should start to see Trump's effects on the economy and the positivity. Summer, we could see another top, another retracement in August, September maybe, and then the final run-up in October and November. That's a possibility. So I kind of agree with his layout. Where I disagree is clearly on the prices. I will eat my hat live on air if we get anywhere near $1 million. It's not going to happen. I've already promised Peter that I'm going to sing You'll Never Walk Alone when we hit $100,000. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that, by the way, but again, it's there, isn't it? So let's very quickly then go and look at the Bitcoin chart. It's all good, but remember, we've had this before. And we got rejected and we came straight back down. Again, could we see this? I don't know. The liquidity coming into the market from China, the interest rate cuts from Powell, I don't know. I don't see this happening. I do think if we get this kind of action, that would be my perfect scenario. We have tested the top of the bull market support band now for, I think that's 5 days. So we've found a nice level to sit on top. Do I think that we're going to break back below 62.6 at the minute? the longer this goes on, the longer we're at 63, 64, 64 and a half, the less I think we're going to come crashing down. And I do think this news from China is incredibly bullish, and I don't think we should underestimate this news from China. China has been an economic threat to America for a while, but it's kind of been built on sand and credit. It hasn't been based on fundamentals. And even Obama, who was how many years ago, alluded to this. Trump alluded to this when he was in power. We've had nearly 4 years of Biden, which he didn't say anything about China. I don't even think he knows where China is. So we've had 2 previous presidents talking about China's stilts. The problem is that China is so big that when there is FUD, it affects the world markets. But when there is FOMO, it pumps the bags. Now they're trying to get their economy going. That's good for the world economy. America is going to try and get its economy going in the next 6 months. That's good for the world as well. So I don't see us breaking back down. I do see a retest back to 62.6 maybe, and then break up. Remember 62, is it 62.6 I've got here? 62.7, sorry. That's my line that we need to hold. We're sitting on top of it. We did get as high as 64.8 this morning. I mean, I don't consider this to be a high. I think the high is up here. I said this yesterday, I know. I think that's the target. I don't think this is anything, but this seems to be where we are battling at. So maybe it is 64.8, 65. Maybe that will break the lower highs. But we've had 3 runs at it. Are we going to finally break it today? I think so. I think we're moving up today. I think we are going to move up. Now, options expiry. Now, I haven't quite worked it out. When is the 30th on Sunday? No, the 30th is on Monday. So the last Friday is this Friday. So the last Friday of September is options expiry. Now, what's important about this is not just the monthly expiry. I believe it's also the quarterly expiry as well, because October, November, December is the 4th quarter. So I do think we are going to see some volatility towards the end of the week, and maybe we start to break. Maybe we are at 65,000. Maybe we're at 67,000. There's lots of other targets on the way up, by the way. 68,000 for me is where I think we need to break. Not 64.8, 65. I think we've got to get to 68,000. There's a lot of bullish news coming out at the minute. And I think even the mainstream media have seen the writing on the wall with Kamala Harris, I think she's called, Kamala. I think they've seen the writing on the wall with her, and now they're starting to question the fact that she's not appearing in any debates, she's not going on to interviews. She's doing a terrible job of trying to portray her policies. I think the writing's on the wall for her. We've got, what have we got now? Six weeks left before the election. I think it's pretty much Trump, and I think the markets will react favourably to that over the next 6 weeks. On top of the Chinese stimulus, on top of the Fed rate cuts, I can't see us going down unless there's a black swan. Now then, 8 billion in Bitcoin options expire this month. Do bulls or bears have the upper hand? So we could fuel a rally to 70,000, or should we see a correction to the downside? So it's the second largest monthly options expiry 2024, totaling 8.1 billion. The question is it going to push us towards 70? The environment favours risk on assets. Currently, Bitcoin is seen as risk on. The options expiry on the 27th, which is Friday, will be a pivotal event. Can we keep above 63,000? My line in the sand is 62.7 because that's the top of the bull market support band. Can the bears push us below 60,000? That is a tall, tall order. Yesterday, the stock market in China surged following the People's Bank of China's announcement of plans to lowering the cost of borrowing, inject liquidity. We've covered that in the tweet. Lin Song, chief economist of Greater China at ING, commented, "There's still room for further easing in the months ahead." So again, bullish signs for the future. China has mirrored the more accommodative US monetary policy. Again, America has cut rates by 0.5%. The UK and Europe are following suit. So that makes money easier to borrow. If you can borrow money at a cheaper rate, you can expand your businesses, grows the economy, employ more staff. It just gets the market going. Remember why we put the interest rates up in the first place. We were overheating. Supply was not keeping up with demand. We put the rates up, we cut off the money, we made people poorer, and now everyone's poor. We can start to get the economy going again. Given these favourable conditions, Bitcoin bulls have reason to believe 63 will hold until Friday and maybe a push to 65. I think I've just said that. I think that's on the cards. These are the calls and puts. These are the prices and their kind of distribution. And what you want to do is you want to find the price where the bulls and the bears can find a compromise in the middle. That could be around 64, 65, 66. From a broader perspective, 4.9 billion at 53% larger than 3.2 billion in open interest for put and sell options. It's not unusual. The excessive optimism reflected in bets on 90,000 again. People have been listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad too much. By the way, Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you're listening to this, where's my $350,000 Bitcoin you keep promising me? So 69% of put options are set at 56,000 or lower. I think we're going to find somewhere in the middle, possibly. I think we're going to be looking at somewhere in the 60s, 63, 64. I think we're going to be okay. So I think if we can just hold 62.7 for the next 3 days, I think we will be good. And everything is pointing to positivity in the market. Now, more positivity. Again, I don't like being overly positive. Remember, it's all well and good having your bags pumped, but just remember where your bags were in April. Okay, when we're going through bearish times, it's my job to try and keep you guys going. When we're starting to see the shoots of a recovery and going into the bull run, it's my job to temper your enthusiasm. Now, we had a $20 chain link. We're now at $12.80. We had a $16 or $17 ICP. We're at $10. We had a $73,000 Bitcoin. We're at $64,000. Remember, these pumps are great, but everybody has a very short-term memory, and you forget where we were 6 months ago. We are going to go back there, but I don't want you to FOMO in. I've been telling you for 4 or 5 weeks to have your bags packed. That's because this oncoming cycle, hopefully October, November, and some of December, we're going to see 20, 30, 40% uplift in the market. And if we get that, I don't want you buying your Ethereum at $3,500. I'd rather you buy it at $2,600. So I'm doing it to prepare you for the run. But then remember, after that, we are likely to have a retracement because we have several of these in a bull run. Remember, I showed you that chart. In 14 years of Bitcoin's history, 27 months moved the price to where we are today. 2 years out of 14, the price of Bitcoin made these gains to get to $64,000. So I don't want you buying in at 75 if we're going to come back to 65. I'd rather you get in now, get in last week, the week before. If you're dollar cost averaging in, as you should be doing, then forget everything I'm saying. But I don't want you FOMOing in at the top. And this could be a local top in December. Just try and get your bags packed as soon as possible. And if your bags are packed and you've got money on the sides, set up a dollar cost average strategy for the next 12 weeks. So say I'm going to buy Bitcoin every Monday at 5 p.m. and then just leave it, or Ethereum, or whatever other coins you want to buy into. Now, some good news came in from a hearing. I watched this, by the way, and I'm not going to play it for you because it's really, really uncomfortable. Gary Gensler's hearing. The SEC chair admits fault in the debt box case. Now, I'm going to cut to the chase of what actually happened with this. There was a gentleman called Tom Emmer, and he had Gary Gensler on the stand, and he was asking Gary Gensler about tickets to see, is it the Red Sox? I don't really know a lot about baseball, but Red Sox. If I sell you a ticket, what does that give you? It gives you entrance to go and watch a baseball game. Okay, so he got Gary Gensler to agree to that, and then he put him on the spot about a Solana, Apon Solana, Apon ETH, something like that. Whereas holding that NFT would give you access to watch a TV series. There's no difference in the eyes of the senators. Gary Gensler was umming and ahhing his way through this, trying to say it was an investment contract, and he was just coming out with all of this evidence that clearly it wasn't an investment contract. When you pay for your Netflix membership, you get access to Netflix to watch as much or as little as you want. Same with Disney, same with Amazon. There's no difference between that and buying an NFT to watch a cartoon. Yet the SEC went after them. In the other case, Debtbox, they were fined. Emma called the SEC's actions destructive, pointing out that the Commission's decision to freeze the assets was based on inaccurate information, leading the court to impose sanctions. Again, Gary Gensler's response: the situation was handled badly. Why? Why was the situation handled badly? How much are you paid? How much are the other members of the SEC paid? How much are the lawyers paid? How can they handle it badly? There should be no good or bad. There should be the law. There shouldn't be an opinion on whether you want something to happen or not. It should be based on the law. If you don't have the correct laws in place, you go back to the judiciary and ask them. You don't decide yourself one day that you don't like crypto. He expressed his frustration as Emma continued to press on the approach. This included the cover. So the SEC had to pay the legal costs of 1.8 million, 1 million in attorney's fees, 750,000 for the receiver's loss. Then Hester Peirce comes on and talks about the approach and criticises it from within the inside. Again, they don't all agree within the SEC. And Hester Peirce has been outspoken since the beginning on this, and she is all for sitting down and discussing things around the table. And that's how it works in the majority of places. If you go to the UK, if you go to Asia, if you go to Europe, they tend to have fact-finding missions where they will bring in people, sit them down and discuss as a regulator and as a market how best to regulate an industry. That's how it works, and it has worked for hundreds of years. But Gary Gensler and the SEC have decided to take it upon themselves to use enforcement to regulate. And it's been an issue for 4 years, and it's held crypto back, and it's held America back. Now then, moving very swiftly on. A few comments. Many new countries around the world are starting to accept Bitcoin. They are indeed, Ishan, they are indeed. Very quick reminder for those of you watching, by the way, before we carry on with this article, I want to remind you that tonight we have our new giveaway. 7 p.m. tonight, which is 7.5 hours from now, we will be doing a new special where we will give away new to those of you that come along and watch the show. We will be doing a prize draw. The show will last about an hour. We will give away new. You don't have to do a lot to enter. You just have to type in new in chat, and that will be it. So that's in 7 hours tonight. It's the second stream of the day. Make sure to go and check that out. Now then, moving on to Sui. Sui sits 40% below its all-time high as the TVL approaches $1 billion. Let's very quickly bring up the Sui chart before we go through the article. Now, as I said, I made a video about Sui. I made a review video about Sui when it came out, and I really don't remember when that was. It was over a year ago, I imagine. Is this my chart? Yes, perfect. Now then, this is the SUI chart. Let's remove my line. And let's go and read the article and see what positivity this is going to bring us. SUI has emerged as one of the top performing altcoins, posting an impressive 120% surge since early September. The price increase has captured the attention of investors and analysts as the TVL approaches 1 billion. The TVL has fueled speculation that SUI could be on the brink of reaching a new all-time high, with many pointing to its growing ecosystem and increasing adoption as key factors drive momentum. SUI's rising TVL suggests growing demand. Key metrics and insights from analysts reveal a growing interest in SUI, driven not only by retail investors but also by institutions pushing the price higher. On August the 5th, during a broader market crash, the TVL was at 342. But again, don't forget, TVL is value locked. If the price of a token on August the 5th was 30 cents and it's now $1, that's going to push it over the billion, because most of that TVL locked will be SUI. So just bear that in mind. Same with Solana. When we see people talk about Solana, it depends on the price of the coin. If that was $342 million locked and now it's $1 billion locked, different story. But this involves a lot of the tokens being locked. TVL is a critical metric that reflects the total dollar value of assets staked within the protocol. A decrease shows liquidity is being withdrawn. Again, it's a positive sign. So, technical levels, SUI is now at 155. Let's just check where we are now. We're not 155 anymore. We are at 174. Can we stay above 140? Again, that is my line in the sand, which is previous resistance. Can it move up and have a crack at its all-time high? That is the question. Now, let's go back to the chart. Now, the one thing I want to say about SUI is I'm actually going to give off some warning signals. In the previous bull run, we saw Solana absolutely tear up trees and become the best performing asset of 2021 in terms of crypto. What I'm starting to see now is influencers telling you that SUI is going to be a top 5, top 10 coin. And that always worries me, because that normally indicates the top. Okay? Now, I'm not saying it's going to go down. I'm saying you should treat SUI with caution. Why do I say that? Because if we put my line back on the chart, I expected a rejection at this price, and we didn't get it. And we've now come up here to this next fib level, which is at 179. So we're pretty much bouncing off that. The issue is, when influencers, key opinion leaders, or whatever they call themselves these days, start to tell you that this is going to become a top 5 or a top 10 project, why are they saying that? They're probably saying it for engagement. They're probably saying it for their metrics, their views on YouTube, their clicks on Twitter, whatever else it might be. Are they saying it based on the fundamentals of the project? Are they saying it based on why has SUI done this? Now, the only thing I have seen in the last few weeks that points to SUI is this. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent now. And this was the bit of news that came out 3 weeks ago now, and that is the Grayscale Trust. Now, at the time, I said that Grayscale only held $900,000. Just give me a second to skip the advert. Grayscale only held $900,000 worth of SUI, but it's moved the price 30%. Now, the question to ask yourself is this the reason? Has this triggered the FOMO, or has something happened with SUI that isn't in the press yet? Because for me, this appears to be a FOMO pump. And when influencers start telling you this is going to be a top 10 coin, like they did with Ton. I don't agree with that. I go against the grain. Look at Ton and what Ton did. Ton ran up and ran up and ran up and got to, I think it went to 8th. Okay, we're at 9th now. It's become a $14 billion project. I don't think it's necessarily a $14 billion project right now. I think it's hype. Sui is down here in 21st position at 4.6 billion. Do I think that's a good place for Sui to be with the likes of Litecoin, not far off Near Protocol and ICP? I do. I think it's at a very, very, very legitimate price. But where is it going to go from here? Where is Sui going to go from here? Is it going to go to a $10 billion market cap, which would put it 13th? Is it as good as Avalanche and Chainlink and Tron? No, I don't think so. So the question is, how much higher is this going to go? Are we going to see a run to all-time highs and then a collapse? Are we going to get rejected here and bounce? I just don't see the value in Sui. And I hold Sui, by the way, and it's going to be some of the best tech ever built. It's fantastic. It's got absolute brains behind it, but it has to be adopted. It needs usage. It needs people using it. And it's new. It's a year and a bit old. It's not an old blockchain at all. So I'm just very wary. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to buy this coin. I'm going to sit here and tell you that, in my humble opinion, there are other coins at lower prices which maybe are going to go on this kind of run in the next 30, 60, 90 days. So be careful with Sui. That's all I'm saying. I think it's going to top out somewhere here. I certainly don't think we're heading in that direction, because that's going to start putting us towards a top 10 coin, and I don't see how it's a top 10 coin. And again, it's a great project. Think about the price. As I said, one of those things I think is going to happen, and if you're going to buy it, I would want to buy it down here and not FOMO in at the top. Said before, your bags should be packed for the end of the year, the last 3 months. And for me, this just looks like overhype. And when influencers are telling you it's going to be a top 5 coin, that is normally, for me, that's a top signal. And I can't see any other way around it being a top signal. Let's get rid of some of these now and move on. And again, this is only my opinion. You don't have to listen to it, okay? It's my opinion. Tariq, Kishan, Solo Sky, Bullish Bull, Peter, you've all got your own opinions. And I'm happy that you have, because what you shouldn't do is watch somebody on the internet and go, I'm going to do everything that person says. Have they got your best interest at heart? Probably not. Ripple SEC case, the lawsuit enters the final round. What to expect? I believe that we've got 2 weeks. I think it's the 6th or the 9th of October they've got to appeal. According to the experts, there is a 75% chance of an SEC appeal, potentially prolonging the case, and that would be a shocker. If they appeal, then XRP is not going to have a bull run. And again, my opinion only. Is it somebody's birthday today? Whose birthday is it? Oh, tomorrow. Happy birthday, Chris, for tomorrow. Remember, there's a good chance that I won't be streaming tomorrow, because we are going to do our stream tonight on Mew, and we were not going to get home till late. I don't know if I'm going to get a show prepared for tomorrow. We'll see. But either way, happy birthday. So the Ripple case, Judge Torres voted in the favour, pretty much in the favour of XRP in both spots. XRP had to pay $120 million. The SEC wanted $2 billion. Absolutely ridiculous. Ripple received a stay order for the penalty payment. They've put the money, as far as I'm aware, they've put the money into kind of stasis, if you want to call it that, and the money is there. What's going to happen next is, oh, they had 70 days. I thought it was 60 days to appeal. 70 days to appeal. The XRP community is cautiously optimistic. Pro-XRP lawyer Fred Rispoli said that the US agency might not come to a decision for an appeal, while saying that a last-minute decision is likely. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and CLO Stuart Alderotti have shrugged off concerns, denying an intention to extend the lawsuit. This development adds complexity to the Ripple SEC case, especially if the firm decides to cross-appeal, challenging the court's decision. XRP price has noted a volatile trading rate at 58 cents. It got up towards 60. The open interest was up 1%. Right, again, I want to cover this because we've got a problem with XRP, and I hold XRP. It's part of the $15,000 portfolio, as you are all fully aware. My problem is timing, and the timing of any extension to this lawsuit, because these things take forever. Now, let's say, hypothetically speaking, we've got 12 months left of the bull run. Hypothetically speaking, it might be November, but let's say it's the 25th of September 2025. That's the end of the bull run. Now, if this case is closed, I've already drawn the lines on this chart of where I think we're going to go. And it's not to the moon. We're not going to $689. I think we are going to go to 97 cents. That's where I think we will go when the case is closed. And that, if you go back over here, we got to 94 cents when the first part of the court case was won. That was the God candle of the first part of the court case right there. That's when the secondary market was not considered a security. So I expect a similar move here. And this is the 8th. So this must be the line. This 8th of October must be the cutoff point. So on the 8th, if they do not appeal, I expect XRP to go to that spot. I am not expecting it to go any higher. Finally, for the bull run, I think we need to be up here for us to get to $4 or $5 at the end of this bull run. $3 or $5, $3 to $5 at the end of this bull run. That's where we need to be. Now, if there is an appeal, then this line here for October the 8th is gone. This line here is gone. This coin, in my opinion, will probably come back down towards this level here where it's had support in the past. That is at 44 cents. So I expect probably 20-25% drop. I think we're going to wick down there if there is an appeal from the SEC. If the SEC appeal, when is the next court case going to be? April, May? Then we have another 6 months on top of that. Then maybe another 6 months on top of that. The bull run's gone for XRP if that appeal takes place. So October the 8th is a critical day for XRP. And if we get an appeal, it is over for this bull run for XRP. Long term, I'm still bullish, but in the short term, it might get to $1.20 in the bull run. And again, the wording that comes out from the judge, the wording that comes out from the SEC, that's all going to make a massive difference. If the SEC appeal over the fine, that's different to the SEC appealing over the decision. And again, if XRP contest that, we could be looking at another 2 or 3 years. We might not be ready till 2029. And then we are in a bit of bother. Right then, I've left myself loads of time to go through this last article. So I might be able to stick a little bit of news and such on the top of this. So, again, I've included this the second day running, I know, okay? But it's a good discussion point, and it saves me having to go and just pick 3 random coins, because one thing I always try and do on here is give you other people's opinions and then give you my opinion. So you have 2 opinions for the price of 1. Yesterday, we talked about meme coins. The only meme coin in that list that I liked yesterday, I can't remember, was it Bonk? I liked, can't remember. The other coins, they look like paid for predictions. Adrian Barkley has written this one again today. And these, just to begin with, Ondo, Atom, Stacks, Pyth, and Stellar. They are the 5 coins he has picked. I'm going to take you through one by one and tell you whether it's a strong buy, a hold, a sell, or a strong sell. That's what we're going to do from now on with these when we include them. I'm going to tell you as well if I hold these tokens, because full transparency, I don't hold all of these tokens, and I will tell you if I hold them. First one up then is Ondo. I bought Ondo at $1.10, $1.90, 80, and 60 cents. They're the prices I bought Ondo for, okay? My average price is probably about 85 cents, something like that. Do I care? No. I said all along I wanted Ondo under $1. It's backed by BlackRock. I don't care anything else after that statement. The price has been coming down. It's come down 23% over that time. However, it's going to have another run at $1, probably in October. So, if you're buying it at 75 cents, excuse me, and we're going to go to $1, work that out. What's that? 33% increase. It's a good return for a solid project. Real world assets, as Sergey Nazarov, is it Sergey Nazarov has said from Chainlink, it's the market, and it certainly is. Ondo, don't miss the boat on Ondo. Secondly to Ondo is Swarm. Don't miss the boat on Swarm. It's a tiny micro cap that I found absolutely by chance when I was looking at real world assets. Germany based, regulated, great company. Swarm is my second one. Ondo is my favorite. Cosmos, I know, I think Tariq and a few others hold Atom. Great project, great token, great ecosystem. The only argument I would have is there's not enough to differentiate the different blockchains based on Cosmos. That's the only difference. They're all the same coffee shop, just with a different name. And that is the only downside for me. However, for the bull run, if you hold Atom, great. Go and research it. And if you like it, go and get it. So for me, a strong buy for Ondo and a buy for Atom. Stacks is, I believe, is it the second or is it the largest Bitcoin layer 2 out there? Bitcoin goes up, Stacks will go up. Bitcoin is going to go up, Stacks therefore will go up. I wouldn't sleep on Stacks. I don't hold any of it, but I would hold it. So for me, Stacks is a buy. Now, again, yesterday, I picked 1 out of 5. So far today, we've got a strong buy, a buy, and a buy. So we're doing pretty well. At Pyth, we covered this yesterday. We did, I think it was yesterday, we did our Pyth review yesterday. What is it? The second biggest oracle behind Chainlink. It sits on 70 odd different blockchains. It's got 500 different price figures. It's making money. It's introduced a dual staking feature, so you can take part in the DAO and earn rewards. Pyth is at 30 cents, I believe, 30 odd cents. It's a solid buy. It's easily going to break $1, $2 maybe at the peak. It's a solid buy. That's a strong buy because of the price for me. It's always going to be overshadowed because of Chainlink. Chainlink is the behemoth, it's the unicorn, but Pyth is a solid pick if you are into that kind of thing. And again, with everything I'm reading out, make sure to go and do your own research. Don't take my opinion on it. But for me, again, I would actually say strong buy for Pyth, strong buy for Ondo, strong buy for Pyth. And then finally, probably the one that I don't actually like, and that is Stellar. Stella's price has been at 10 cents for how long? I remember buying and selling Stella for 12 and 16 cents, and we're at 10 cents. So if you'd held it for 4 or 5 years, it hasn't moved. It's like buying USDT. Bullish momentum is moving, XLM is moving. I don't hear about Stella in the news. I don't hear about it on crypto Twitter. I hear nothing. I've heard nothing about Stella for 2 years. So for me, unless something changes, this is an avoid. I wouldn't say a sell or a strong sell. If you've got it and you've got it at a good price, hold it. Even, everything floats on a rising tide. So Stella will go up in the bull run. But again, I wouldn't hold it. I wouldn't go out and buy Stella tomorrow. If you gave me these 4 coins to buy and the order to buy these coins in, I would be buying Ondo first, Pyth second, Stacks third, Cosmos fourth, and Stella last. They would be the order I would buy those coins in. Full disclosure, I own Ondo, I don't own Atom, I don't own Stacks, I don't own Stella anymore, and Pyth, I bought $50 of Pyth to make a Pyth staking video. That's it, so I don't hold any more than that. So the only one of the 5 I really hold any of is Ondo. And that's because it's such a solid project. And if I had the chance to buy Ondo at 60 cents and 65 cents, I would have bought more than I've already bought, but I've dollar cost averaged in. And that is what you do. You don't overspend on a dollar cost average in, you don't underspend. If you've got a budget of $1,000 to buy a coin, you spend $1,000 on it. If you've got a target of $500, you spend $500 on it. What you don't do is have a target of, say, buying $100. You have a target of buying 200 tokens. And if you end up with 250 tokens for the $100, great. But try not to dollar cost average in as the price is pumping, just to try and catch the coattails of it. These are the coins you should be holding now. And that's the important message, is just buy and hold what you have got. What's happening with Polygon? Polygon's coin switched from Matic to Pol. And that is absolutely massive. In terms of price action, let me have a look. I haven't looked at the price action yet. Well, I haven't looked at price action for a week or so. Let's go and have a look at Pol very quickly then. That is not the right coin. This is the problem. The coin has changed. The coin has changed from Matic, so a lot of the tickers are going to look like this. So, okay, so basically it's pretty much at the same price it was. The one thing to understand about Pol, I keep wanting to call it Matic, about Pol is this. It's changed as a coin from a proof of stake coin, which was Matic, to now being the coin that is going to power the AG layer. And the AG layer is something I harp on about all the time. And what I will do on Friday is I will do a little bit about the AG layer. But what it does is it allows shared liquidity between different blockchains, and not just layer 2 blockchains, not just between Optimism, Arbitrum and Polygon, but other blockchains as well. And it does those transactions, as far as I'm aware, at an atomic level, so they are incredibly quick. Now the switch from Matic to Pol is to give Pol, or is to make Pol the token that allows for those swaps. So it's become a kind of a gas fee. Now that might sound an awful lot like a much of a muchness, but if you look at Chainlink, Chainlink's got CCIP, which is also something very similar. Very similar in terms of it takes micro transactions off everything. They've put through $17 trillion of business through Chainlink. Think about that for Pol. Pol is going to be used millions and millions of times a day. And those millions and millions of tiny, tiny, tiny fractions of transactions are going to be worth an absolute fortune to the ecosystem. If they're charging 0.0001 per transaction and you multiply that by 50 million, you're making a lot of money a day as a chain. and that will go back into the value of Pol. So for me, it's still in my portfolio. I'm never going to get rid of it because of all the layer 2s, it's still my favorite because it's done the most. So that in a nutshell is why I am so bullish on Polygon. Anyway, enough of me. It is 12 o'clock. We are back at 7. Last reminder, tonight, this will be streaming live in 7 hours time, and we're going to give away Mew. We're going to go over all the news about Mew. We're going to talk about the new animated series that's going to be launched. We're going to talk about where they've been going, Token 2049. We're going to talk about lots and lots of things on the horizon. So don't fade that either. You need to be there or be square. Anyway, thank you very much. Back in 7 hours. Take care, everybody. See you tonight.